Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John. Today we're in John chapter 7. We're going to start reading at verse 10. Now, remember we saw in yesterday's session that it is the time for the Festival of Tabernacles, which occurs in the fall. Jesus' brothers had encouraged Jesus to go, but he said, no, my time is not yet. So they went on ahead to the festival. But then Jesus goes. However, he does not go in public, but in private. He does not want a lot of publicity around him. He goes privately. So let's begin reading at that point. Verse 10. Now, however, after his brothers had left for the festival, Jesus went also, not publicly, but in secret. Now, at the festival, the Jewish leaders were watching for Jesus. They were asking, where is he? And remember, they had determined several months before that they wanted to kill Jesus. After he was there several months before and he healed the paralytic at the pool on the Sabbath and then claimed to be equal with the Father, they had decided Jesus must be done away with. So they're asking, where is he? They think he might come for the Festival of Tabernacles. They're looking for him because they want to do away with him. So they're asking, where is he? And among the crowds, there was widespread whispering about him. All the crowds are talking about Jesus. Some said, he's a good man. But others said, no, he deceives the people. But no one would say anything publicly about him for fear of the leaders. See, it was well known among the Jewish population that the leadership was trying to do away with Jesus. So although the crowds are talking about him, who he is and what he's doing about the miracles and all that he has said, they're doing it privately, not publicly, because they don't want to get in trouble with the leadership. Verse 14, not until halfway through the festival did Jesus go up to the temple courts and began to teach. The Jews were amazed and they asked, how did this man get such teaching without having been taught? Now, it says he did not begin to teach until halfway through the festival. The festival itself lasts for 7 days. So it's a multi-day festival. And by the way, this is one of the most joyous of the festivals of the Jewish calendar. People exhibit great joy when they come for this festival, great celebration, great crowds, and they're doing that. So Jesus waits until halfway through before he goes to the temple, and then he begins to teach. And as has been said before at his teaching, the people are wondering, how does he get such learning? Where does this teaching come from? Because he hasn't been taught. Now, what do they mean he had not been taught? Well, they mean he has not gone to any of the official rabbinical schools. There were schools of teaching led by famous rabbis who had disciples. And to be taught is to go to one of those. That's formal education. And they know Jesus does not have that formal education, yet he has profound words of wisdom. Teaching from God. How could he have such things since he did not go to one of the rabbinic schools? So again, the crowds are wondering, how does he come by such knowledge? Notice how Jesus answers. Verse 16. My teaching is not my own. It comes from the one who sent me. Now, anyone who chooses to do the will of God, he will find out whether my teaching comes from God or whether I speak on my own. Whoever speaks on their own does so to gain personal glory. But he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him, he is a man of truth. There's nothing false about him. Has not Moses given you the law? Yet not one of you keeps the law. Why are you trying to kill me? Jesus says, you want to know where my teaching comes from? It comes from the one who sent me. I have been sent by the Father. And the teaching I have is that which is given by the Father. If you knew my Father, if you knew God, you would recognize my teaching. I'm not seeking personal glory. I'm seeking the glory of the Father. Now, as they hear that, of course, this echoes what Jesus said before. You remember when he had healed on the Sabbath, he said, my Father works on the Sabbath, so I must work as well. Saying the same thing. My teaching comes from the Father. I live in union with the Father. Once again, he is claiming to be the Son of God, and the Son of Man. And notice how he goes on to say, listen, you claim you follow Moses, but yet you're seeking to kill me. Now, he's referring to the Jewish leadership who is seeking to do away with Jesus. Now, the crowd say, well, you must be demon-possessed. Who's trying to kill you? And Jesus says, I did one miracle, and you're all amazed. Now, he's referring to the healing of the paralytic. That's what he did last time he was in Jerusalem. You're all amazed. Yet, because Moses gave you circumcision, though actually it didn't come from Moses but the patriarchs, yet he gave you circumcision, so you circumcise a boy on the Sabbath. Now, if a boy can be circumcised on the Sabbath so that the law of Moses may not be broken, why are you angry with me for healing a man's whole body on the Sabbath? Stop judging by mere appearance, but instead judge correctly. Now, see what he's doing? He said, Moses gave you circumcision. Well, it actually came from Abraham, but Moses gave you the law on it. You are to circumcise on the 8th day. Now, if the 8th day falls on the Sabbath day, you go ahead and circumcise, because the law says circumcise on the 8th day. Now listen, if you receive the sign of the covenant on the Sabbath, why would you not want a man of the covenant, a Jewish man, to be healed on the Sabbath? You are so off base in your judgment of me because I healed on the Sabbath. That is appropriate. If the sign of the covenant can be given on the Sabbath, certainly the healing that comes from God to make a crippled man walk, that can come on the Sabbath. You see, that's in line with the will of the Father. So Jesus is saying, what I do comes from the Father, my miracles, and what I teach comes from the Father. My word is his word. Again, Jesus is claiming to be the very Son of God come to us. Join us tomorrow as we continue looking at John chapter 7 in our 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John.